Good evening, Glow Stick. How you doing on this fine evening, my friend? Right, it's Tuesday night. Welcome back, everyone, as we now head into another round of what has been a remarkable season. We've had drama, unpredictability, brilliant drives, and plenty of controversy as well. And tonight, the drivers face an entirely new challenge as JSR finally arrives here in Madrid. The last few rounds has completely transformed in the championship picture in Saudi Arabia. Sasha Hood capitalised on late drama to take victory ahead of Ryan Benning and Eric after an incredible race around the streets of Jeddah. Then we headed to Mexico where the sprint race saw Sasha produce another outstanding drive from ninth on the grid to victory, overtaking Glowstick in the final few laps of the Grand Prix, while the feature race finally saw Red Joke step on the top of the podium after holding off the championship leader, the seven-time champion finally winning a race in the F2 category. Then most recently we travelled to the Temple of Speed in Monza, and once again it was Sasha Hood who came out with the victory. Fireblades produced one of the strongest performances of the season, finishing on the podium alongside Yokes, while Milan Langer charged forward by 10 places in an excellent recovery drive through consistency, speed and ability to avoid trouble when it mattered the most. And Sasha continues to strengthen his grip on the championship, but this race, it's unknown. Everyone enters the unknown. Madrid is an entirely new circuit the drivers and teams have to face. The circuit combines long straights, tight corners and several medium speed and high speed corners, and we'll see the compromises between the outright speed and aerodynamic efficiency, and we'll see if anybody can master the streets of Madrid. Is it a street race? That's how much I know around the circuit, so I'm not quite sure if it is a street race, but we're about to find out facing this new challenge. And as you can see on the track map, it does look like it's a brand new spectacle in this game. So Olivier, one of our newest drivers here, and you can see cutting the chicane already, but I do think they have fixed that patch where if you do cut the chicane you will invalidate, so it's normal procedure there. But this track twisty in and got loads of high speed and medium speed corners, and it's going to be something to watch out for too around this circuit. Now I have no idea how this looks like a interesting part of the track. It's a downhill banker and you're carrying the speed all the way through towards this sharp left-hander. I presume there's going to be a lot of contact in this race as well, as drivers will jostle and fight for track position, and I believe as well many drivers will mess up on their laps, so we could see somebody brand new on top of the championship here as well in this race. As Kieran says, the track is so hard to manage your battery too. I can imagine, mate, with loads of long sweeping corners on the bottom most of the time, it's going to be very, very difficult to manage the battery. So we are now entering the final few corners of this racetrack as we finally start a lap on board with the Alpine driver of Olivier. I don't think Sasha is here tonight, just Hood, so he will not continue his streak of impressive runs of 6 wins this season. Now we can start a flying lap on board with Olivier Boomer as he comes down towards turn 1, already lifting a ghost in as he tackles the first 2 corners on this racetrack, taking a lot of curve on the inside for both of them. Now applies the spotter once again, and I don't even know why I'm taking you through a lap here, because I don't know about this track. I have no idea how this track even flows, so this is a brand new learning curve for me as well. Look at that, bumping and jumping and skipping over the chicane, and already Olivier has invalidated his lap time. So that's lap time done and dusted. Now I suspect there's going to be many invalidations in that particular part of the racetrack as drivers will find the grip and the groove through that particular part of that track, so watch out for the chicane. It can be very tricky indeed. Let's see how Stefan takes it now. The former race winner in JSR has taken a couple of wins last season as well, and a protege of Ben Joke as he now makes his way uphill towards these twisty, sharp corners, and nicely done indeed, sweeping through this first sector as he carries the speed all the way through his 6th gear, downshifting to 5th as we continue building speed back up in towards this banked corner we go. Stay tight to the inside line, try not to scrub up any speed through this corner here, and now we're entering this sharp left-hander. I have no idea what the corner names numbers are around the circuit, so I won't say turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. I will just say left-hander to right-hander, so do apologise on my racing literature, because I have no idea about any of this as we now make our way through the stupid left-hander we go now towards this right-hander. I know it's going to be annoying me saying the left-hander and right-hander you know what? Instead of saying that, let's get the track map up to avoid people getting annoyed in the comment section. So, F1 Madrid track map. Track map, where are you? There you are. You know what? I might get lost through here as well, to be honest with you, because I don't know where the drivers are. But here we are towards the line. Esteban lays down the marker. It's going to be a 29.7, and that is the benchmark to beat for everybody else. I believe Williams of Ralph goes P2. They're just behind, and Ryan Benink goes P2 to make it a Cadillac in second place, as Glowstick is in fourth place. Armin Pink Panther goes quickest of them all with a 29.491. So he has changed back from Pink Panther to Armin. Don't forget, he has been Pink Panther, and he has shown some strong, promising pace indeed, but unable to piece it together, because usually in the second half of the race, he does tend to drop out. Not the points, but just out of range, as Octavia goes P3 in the Red Bull. A decent lap time for him as well. Sparran Boom in P5 with a 30.5, and a few hundred slower than Ryan Benink in P4 in the Cadillac as well, for good measure. Mummy Nick is out there too, coming towards the end of his flying lap. Let's see what the Dutchman could do as he progresses now all the way towards the final few corners on this racetrack. Very important to slow it all down as well, and a bit laggy too for good measure. Hopefully that's not me. But here is Mummy Nick then, as he makes his way towards the final corner. He goes. Let's see what he could do. It's going to be a 30.7 and puts that Haas into P6. You know what? I'm glad I've got a racer. I'm racing, not racing, but commentator on this track, because in PSGL, this exact race is coming up. So it's good news for me as well. Olivier, goes P8 in the Williams then, as he puts that Williams inside the top 10. He is Danish, so nice to see a Danish driver in this lobby. As Kik Skolton, a man who's taken a few wins last season. I think it was Baku, and almost in Qatar, I think it was. He took a race win without even looking, but he has been a force to be reckoned with, has Kik, and every time he races, he has been super quick as well. And Robbie Jacobs has joined this session as well, so 16 drivers will appear tonight, and hopefully be a showdown race. But so far, Pink Panther is leading the race, qualifying session, and Stefan's P2, so Octavia P3. So we're in the 29.30s as well, as Kik just navigates that particular part of the racetrack, headed down in towards turn number 20, 21 and turn 22. The final corner, no, that's not the final corner, so this is turn 22 on the racetrack. Let's see what Kik does. Oh, brushed the barrier on the outside, and it's a 30.2. As Glowstick says in the comment section, this is a hard track to learn. Holy moly macaroni indeed, as Cadillac P5 and P6. So it's not all Cadillac third row of the grid with Ryan Benink and Khatikas. Khatikas, a former champion in JSR. So is Milan Langer, who pops his Haas into P9 just behind Mummy Kuhn, who was racing, I think, in F2 in Monza, now in F1. So let's see what Kuhn could do in the Williams. Was racing with Glowstick as well, so that was a mighty battle between the top two. And Kuhn in F2 unfortunately ran out of fuel towards the end of that race. But now let's see, he has invalidated his lap time. Unfortunately, there has the Dutchman. 8 minutes of this qualifying session have already gone. And I think Kik, is he on another final lap? No, obviously not, because the battery hasn't been used then. So Kik there in P3. What's he trying to do? Is he trying to do a second lap on those set of soft compound tyres? He just completed a lap, didn't he? And Fireblaze goes P6 there in the McLaren. So former champions are P5, P6 and P10 and P15 as well, as Robbie Jacobs is a former Division 1 champion. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody, because there will be hipping on Niels there, but I think I've caught everybody who has been a champion of JSR previously as well. Sasha Hood is leading the championship. Let's get the championship standings up and running. So Sasha first place, 173, ahead of Ryan Benink P2, 76 points. Kevin Zuckerberg 69 points and third, ahead of Stefan, who's fourth in the Audi with 63 points. Pink Panther, who is Armin, fifth in the championship with 60 points, ahead of Fireblaze, who's got 44 points. Fred Joke, with his recent win, ties with Milan Langer in the Haas, both on 39 points. Ice Kik, which is Kik Skolton, is P9 with 35 points. Ivan in P10 with 26 points. Indeed then, so it's all to play for in the championship. And plus we might see a new winner, because Kevin Zuckerberg isn't here, and neither is Steban, and neither is Sasha, sorry. So those two are not here tonight, and we could see a new winner indeed. So the only driver to win a race except Steban Sasha is Kevin Zunderberg. That's incredible. And Venjoke as well. So only 3 winners this season. Can anybody else get their names on the board? We should see a brand new winner this season because the 3 I mentioned are not here tonight. So they've stepped aside and allowed somebody else to try and clinch the hands on the championship. Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 consecutive seasons, Venjoke has been a champion. Season 6, Fireblaze breaks the tie and he becomes the new champion in Season 6. Season 7, Venjoke took it back with 6 championships, and Robbie Jacobs in Season 8 took the championship with Red Bull. Then the season after, Venjoke became the champion once again for Red Bull. Milan Langer became the Season 10 championship, and Season 11 it was Robbie Jacobs. So Robbie Jacobs is a 2-time champion here in JSR. Then last season in Season 12, Khatakas became the new champion, the recent champion of JSR, but he's a long way behind if he wants to try and mirror what he did last season to become the champion. We had like 5 different drivers fighting for the championship last season. It was so close, but heading towards a new game, it looks like Sasha has got the grip and he's already settled in nicely. Then we're on board with the McLaren driver now, and let's see, can he improve on his second lap time? McLaren driver looking good so far. This is Pink Panther Armin, as he's called right now, so he's changed back to his old name, and we'll see what the Dutchman could do as he heads down towards turn 1, turn 2. Keeping it nice and cool through here. Turn 3 should be an easy one. Nice flat out kink through that particular part of the track. If we head down towards the chicane we go. Let's see how he takes the chicane, carrying a lot of speed through here. And make sure you don't cut the chicane, which he doesn't do. Threads the needle to that particular part of the track. Uphill, and he's already a tenth up in the first sector as he literally uses all the curve, gets super close to the walls, frantically close to the outside wall there, and just narrowly missing as well. Look at this, they're using every single part of the racetrack. He's nice, committed and smooth input for Armin. No second guessing, no errors it seems like. Hopefully they haven't jinxed him at this particular part of the track, but let's see how he does in this middle sector when it ends, as we now make our way through these swoopers, through the high-speed corners, before making our way down towards the right-hander here, taking a lot of curb. He's 4 tenths up in this middle sector. Armin is absolutely flying around here in Madrid. Could he be the one that we see run away here, as he, I thought for 1 second might go in the pit lane, but the pit lane's further away. We're coming towards the final few corners now on this racetrack. Turn 21, the Bloodsport corner. You can see him like literally leapfrogging off the exit there too to get a good exit. And now making his way towards the final corner he goes, keeps it nice and pinned. And towards the line he goes into 29.1, and he increases his advantage by 7 tenths of a second. Stevan closes in, and he's the closest competitor with a 29.6. Nobody is touching Pink Panther so far. He's well clear ahead of the rest of the field, but I wonder as the drivers progress and learn. Doctavia, however, goes P3. That's a mega qualifier. Doctavia has been turned up a notch recently, and he has been super quick and competitive, and he's right up there with the big boys in the top 2 there as well. But we see Khatakas go up into P4 in the Cadillac. Kick Skolton now is the next driver. Massive wheel spin, you can hear it as he accelerates to the corner. Oh, I thought for 1 second he might have lost the car. They might have lost it momentarily, but scoops it back up. Heckle's kick now out of the final corner. What can he do? It's P5, and he lost time in the final sector, so not a good final sector there for Kick. We saw him squirm away, fighting for traction, but unfortunately it all got away from him. Indeed, Glowstick and Olivia has unfortunately a relative. Ralph 2, Robbie Jacobs 2, and MVD is not on a flyer then. So a lot of drivers in their second runs definitely struggling around here in Madrid, Spain, indicating that this track is very difficult indeed. The 2 Cadillacs are spiting away. Of course, they're both on their in laps, as both drivers will make their way in the pit lane to get rid of those soft compound tyres, but hopefully don't pick up damage in the process, because that's going to be a very costly mistake if they do. Ryan Benning has set a personal best though, but of course he's way down there in P7 with a 30.5. So it is Armin who's on provisional pole position. Pink Panther has been showing his true colours so far, and he's at the top of the pecking order and untouched and unchallenged by anybody, because Stevan is 5 tenths away. That's incredible indeed. He's certainly got the upper hand and the pace above the rest of the field. The question is though, can he try and inspire it into the race? I think Kick out there in the Ferrari could be on a flying lap. Let's go on board. No, he's not. He's 3 seconds down. So quiet before the storm, every single driver making their way back towards the pits to put on a brand new set of boots ready for the final moments here in qualified. Stefan did make a job. He finished P5 at the Madrid Grand Prix a couple of races ago. Did particularly do well in the F2 races, did Stefan, and he finished P5 again back in Saudi Arabia too. Do you know what? He's a handy driver to pick up points. He can be very quick on his day. Like every single person, they can have a good spell, a dry spell, and just be in between. You know, there's never a driver who's always like, well, except Sasha Hood. But drivers fluctuate in terms of progress and performance throughout a season, except Sasha, of course, and Kevin Zunderberg. But Stefan can have some good days sometimes if he pieces it all together. I do believe he did win back in the Singapore Grand Prix last season too. It was a great race between both Ferrari drivers at the time, and they did have a 1-2 back in Singapore as well. So when they keep piecing together, they work really, really well together indeed, but they're both in different teams. MVD is Stefan's teammate in the Audi this time. Every driver, I must say, in this league have their good and bad moments, you know. Some thrive in one race, some fall in the other race, and vice versa too. It's just, you know, a combination of skill, bravery, setup, and confidence around any circuit. And drivers have their own different preferences, you know. You can do good in one race, do bad in the other, vice versa, and flip around. But on board with Kuhn in the Williams then, I think he's more like a Division 2 driver, I must say. In P10 ahead of Milan Lange, former champion here in the JSR. The man, I think, that's got the most wins, I think, in JSR, if I'm not mistaken. I think Ray Joker got the second most wins here in the JSR. Milan Lange has got the most points here as well. It hasn't been updated as of yet. He's got 1,900 after season 12, but I'm pretty sure that tally has increased. These drivers doing a really good job keeping an eye on their standings. But yes, Milan Lange has 31 wins in this division. Venjoke has 28, but he did win one back at the... Oh, did Kuhn encounter a bit of traffic? I'm not quite sure. I wasn't really watching the screen, as you could tell. I was looking at the wins and podiums so far on the standings. But yeah, he's down the first sector, so I don't think he got hindered too much, so he can continue with his lap time or choose to back off, depends if he's got the fuel and tyres left to go, as well as he continues riding around this high-speed particular part of the track in the middle sector. Now, slow stuff here. It's all about the exits as well. Trying to nail the exits, get back on the throttle without losing traction. Manages really well. I wonder if he's getting more time in this final sector. Here comes the Williams driver as he powers his way towards the line. It's P6. That's a mega lap time there for Kuhn, and he'll be absolutely ecstatic with that lap time as Sparrow in the Mercedes has just replaced him there and goes up into P6 as well. But many other competitors are on their final flying laps, as we can see, getting out of the way there. Well, I think that was Kuhn in the Williams, but Ryan Benink has already invalidated his lap time, and there's a Red Bull behind us. Who's that Red Bull? Is it Robbie Jacobs? Of course it is. These two are really close friends, but unfortunately Robbie Jacobs has invalidated too. That's P15. I think he stood there. Mum and Nick in the Haas goes P4. What a mega result for Mum and Nick. Octavia P3 is unbelievable. Stefan is on a lap time, but where is Pink Panther? Pink Panther has just started his final lap here in qualifying. So every single driver out on the track so far. Who shall we keep an eye on? So there's a Haas or Cadillac towards the end of the middle sector. That could be, I think. Is it Mum and Nick? Oh, he's just in. Validated has Mum and Nick then. So P4 at best for him. But it's Octavia 5/10 up in the first sector. That is incredible indeed. Is it 5/10? Is it deceiving? Oh, look at that. Bounce over the curb. The car in the air for a few seconds. And unfortunately for him, he has just invalidated. And what a shame for him indeed. I think that 5/10 up was his previous best lap time. There's contact. Somebody has lost a wing here as well. And the final few minutes have gone hectic here in qualifying as all the drivers are trying to push maximum to get the best out of this track. But a few of them making mistakes there. And Armin, Pink Panther, has just invalidated too at the exit of whatever that corner was. But yes, he was up in the middle sector by a few hundredths of a second there as well. He'll be devastated, but still on pole position. I don't think nobody. Statham, however, 3/10 up. Can he continue his progress? Has he lost a bit of wing too for good measure? I'm not quite sure. But here comes Statham coming towards the final corner. Can Statham be the man to take pole away? The answer is no, but it gets closer and closer. It's a 29.230 and a tenth away from Armin. He was super close and finally pulled some lap time out of the bag as Spam has retired. Kick, however, through the middle sector he goes, 400 up as he almost scrapes the barrier, giving it a gentle kiss on the inside and outside too for good measure. Flicks the car in a high speed, downshift to fifth gear before we make our way now towards this tight, twisty part of the racetrack. Flicks the car in, didn't really hook up the apex, but the exit is more crucial as we now go through turn number 21. A bit of wheel spin like he did the last lap. The car just tail happy on the final few corners of the racetrack. But here he comes. Is this pole? No, but it's P4 for him. And Robbie Jacobs, I believe, hasn't improved. Robbie Jacobs has been disqualified and will start in last place. But it is Pink Panther who is on provisional pole position. Well done to him. A mega lap time. He should be absolutely thrilled for that one, indeed. Whoa, what the end of a qualifying session that was. Pink Panther, I don't think he's had a win yet this season either. He's been super close to a podium as well. Best result P5 back in Monaco, but a podium is still pending for the Dutchman. And yeah, he's actually did score a podium back in Qatar. I wasn't here for Qatar, but yeah, Pink Panther did finish in P3 in Qatar. And I know he's been very quick and competitive recently, but is this the moment? Is this the race where he can win? Bearing in mind there's a long way to go, 29 laps around the tight waters around here in Madrid, Spanish Grand Prix. I wonder, can he survive for 29 laps? He's got Statham right behind him. Statham looking for his first win since the Singapore Grand Prix last season. And there's Octavian third, I saw. I'm not quite sure, but if Octavian's third, well done to him. That man is getting better and better. He was one of the drivers who was a usual Q1 knockout, I must say, but started to improve ever so slightly, which is very nice to see indeed. And hopefully we are on course for a good race around here. I have no idea what this race is going to be like. I suspect it could be contact going down towards that chicane there as well at turn number 5 and 6. So we could see some contact down there as well, with many drivers tossing it out for position. It's a brand new track, brand new challenge indeed. I'm about to find out who will master the Madrid Grand Prix here in Spain. The walls are very close, the margin is incredibly small, and confidence will build every lap as every single driver will try and get better and better. But we've got strategy, tyre, safety cars, and changeable conditions as well, which could play a role into this race. But the race is about to start here in Madrid. For the first time in F1, we have the Spanish Grand Prix, and we are underway immediately then. The McLaren gets a really good launch off the line there and maintains his position. Coming through turn 1 we go. The cam like, oh my goodness me, he went bowling. Who was that? Was that Hartikas there going bowling in towards turn 1? He took out, I think, 2 people, and I think he's lost a bit of front wing too. And it was the Haas in the background. Milan Langer has gone for a spin, unfortunately, as well. Safety car or VSC has been deployed, so chaotic, frenetic first lap of this race. But crucially, Armin still orientates the lead of the race ahead of Statham. No major changes at the top of the standards there either. In fact, let's have a look to see. The top 7 stayed with the starter, but Hartikas went bowling in towards turn 1 and claimed those positions he lost back. So a short neutralisation has hindered this race. The VSC has came out, first introduced in 2015 of course, and has been used effectively in these past few races. I don't like a VSC. My preferential is a full safety car, because full safety car brings everybody together. But of course it's the first lap, so I don't really bother at this stage. But in my opinion though, I think I just don't like VSCs, man. And I know they're effective, I know they're good, but I'd rather have a full safety car out which spices things up and brings everybody back together. As Glowstick says, WTF, Ryan. So was it Ryan Benink who took out a few people in turn 1? I'm not quite sure, but Glowstick and Milan Langer are down there P15 and 16th place. So both of them had a torrid start. Look at that. Glowstick had a great qualifying down into P15. Milan has lost 3 places. Kuhn has lost 5 places down to P14. So what a shocking start for those guys, as the VSC has surely come to an end, and race to presume once again if Ralph gets ahead, or does he, because they're going side by side, so both of them attacking each other on the restart. Olivia is ahead of Ralph coming towards turn 22, the final corner of this race, but Pink Panther is in the lead of this race. Stable P2, and Octavia running brilliant in P3. I really hope he has the race pace. Remember Belgium? That was in SDN. But in Belgium, he was up there, but on the wrong strategy, because it was supposed to be hard to inters, but he did medium hard inter, and that really ruined his strategy as well. You've got to be really careful in that chicane not to hop, skip and jump in the gravel or in the wall either. Your car could go airborne in a matter of seconds, so you've got to be very careful and wary of that chicane. But Octavia on the attack already behind Stevan, putting pressure on his fellow Dutch compatriot here as well for P2. Mummy Nick and Khatikas are exchanging positions there, and Mummy Nick muscles his way up into P5 ahead of Khatikas, coming through this banked corner, and look at Sparrow under pressure, and through goes Ryan Benink. He's up into P7, and as you can see, the Haas from Benink was ghosted there too. So plenty of action in the first 2 laps of this race, but Pink Panther remains unchallenged at the front of the field, and every single driver barring Ralph, Glowstick and Milan Langer are on the medium compound tyres there, so the usual strategy to go, as somebody has become a cropper down there. Is that Milan? Oh, Milan Langer unfortunately suffering in this race. It's not everybody's favourite cup of tea is this race, as Khatikas somehow got past Woman Nick in those slow speed bends and puts his Haas, or should I say Cadillac, up into P5 ahead of the other Dutchman, as somebody else in the background too has also became a nuisance. Was that MVD? Oh no, it wasn't Glowstick, but it could have been MVD, who has dropped down into P15 14 then, so not going well for one of the Audi drivers, but his teammate is up into P2. Kick Skolton is lingering outside the overtake mode and in P4, so he could be in a bit of trouble if he doesn't stay in the overtake mode. That has been his Achilles heel so far. Not able to keep up in the pace of a long endurance race either inside the 1 second range of the overtake mode. So that's a weakness he has shown, not just this DLC, but in the last game. I've noticed that his long-term longevity hasn't been quite efficient. And as I say that, he's brought that gap down to 7/10 of a second, so instantly proved wrong there as well. Nice roller coaster. It's not a roller coaster. Come on, Jerry, what's that called? It's a wheel. Nice wheel there indeed, in the middle of the racetrack. Imagine being on that wheel and watching the race. That'd be incredible indeed. Where else does that have? Where else is that? Was it Malaysia who also has that wheel as well? I'm trying to think. I want to say USA, but I don't think it is USA. Where is that wheel? Somebody remind me where that wheel is on another racetrack. It's somewhere obvious and well-known racetrack, but I can't think for the life of me where it is. Anyways, forget about that. A few people just bounced off the wall there in turn number 16, 17, 18, I believe it is. He can get away with that, but of course, if it was simulation damage, he might pick up a puncher for scraping the wall intensely indeed. So Stevan is 7/10 behind Pink Panther. Pink Panther is not able to pull away from the Audi driver, so keeping him hot on his heels for this race. Octavia, however, doing a mega job in P3, keeping tabs with Stevan. And for those people who are not familiar with Octavia, basically in the last few games, he has been a driver who has been knocked out in Q1 in SDN and has struggled massively for race pace and has fought at the back of the field almost all the time. Yes, he does pick up a point or two when something happens towards the guys at the front of the field, but here he is solidly even in P3. This is not luck, this is pure pace. This is the redemption arc of Octavia, a new Octavia in this race, and it's very nice to see indeed where I think his name is, it's not Reno, is it? It's Leonard? I can't remember what his real name is, my bad, Octavia, but it's something obvious, Reno. But Mummy Nick, Sparrow and Robbie Jacobs there, all just trading places. Mummy Nick down into P7, so Ryan Benink has got past, and Cadillac have asserted themselves in P5 and P6 there. So both Cadillacs running really well in 5th and 6th place. Ryan Benink and Khatikas. Mummy Nick has been shuffled down into P7 there under pressure from Robbie Jacobs, the hard starting Robbie Jacobs indeed, who disqualified himself and now up to P8. So that's handy. Oh, Mummy Nick there smashing against the wall, and now Robbie Jacobs is up into P7. with an easy overtake as well. So Mum and Nick around the circuit is struggling. The top three are trying to streak away and break away from Kick in P4, so the gap is 0.4 of a second then. So the top three are trying to run away from this race, and Octavius still pressurised Esteban, but he goes wide through the first few corners, and luckily did not spin there either. He might have picked up a track limit violation for that and lost a little bit of time too in the process, but hopefully he can get himself back in rhythm and back in form before he loses even more time. He's losing more time as well. I think he's pushing too hard there to try and keep him in the top two. Once you start making mistakes, you start overdriving and making even more mistakes too. It's natural, you know, because you're trying to claw back the time you've lost. So mistakes like that, you continuously making mistakes until you find yourself in the rhythm. So I think he needs to calm down a little bit. It's natural for a driver to want to push and get yourself back closer to where you was as well. So a few adventures on the racetrack for Octavia, but luckily does not have, well, he does a warning, but 2 more of those warnings he will have a penalty. So from here on in, just keep it nice and clean. You know, a podium is very important in JSR, and he downshifted to 5th gear way too quickly as well for good measure. But certainly this man has improved, but in terms of consistency, he may need to work on his consistency as well. But so far, so good for the Dutchman in P3 with Octavia. Kick is still there. Oh, he locks up as well. Come on, Octavia, don't be making mistakes now. The pressure is starting to ramp up here at Spain, Madrid. And now fighting with his own car, fighting with grip. That could allow the top two to pull away in this race, and it certainly has gave a bit of breathing space between second place and third as well, as Esteban can fully focus on Armin for first place, as both Cadillacs have swapped places, P5 and P6. Rybernink has moved up into P5. So Sparrow Boom has got a penalty in this race, the first driver to be awarded a penalty in this Grand Prix, so that'll set him back a few laps as well. Not a few laps, but a bit of time for good measure. And Kick, however, in P4 has lost the gap again. The gap is 1.1. It keeps bouncing and teetering on the edge between Octavia and Kick. Just small finite margin between those two. It keeps fluctuating every single lap time as Robbie Jacobs gets past Harten Kass, who is dropped down into P8. So a major mistake there for the champion, defending champion of JSR, and he's been relegated down into 8th place, but fighting back against Mum and Nick, trying to go on the outside if he can to potentially have the inside line and claim the apex. Breaks later, does he? Mum and Nick goes a bit wide, but the inside line is the next corner, which able to keep his position for the time being. But Hartikas will simply swoop around the outside and take away 7th place, but they've lost abundance amount of time towards the guys in front. Hartikas is about 2.4 seconds away, so a few mistakes has been costly there for the Cadillac driver. He was with his teammate in symmetry, but now has lost his connection with his teammates and running down in P7 with Mum and Nick. Sparren, Ralph, Olivia, Fireblaze, all in that train and in the mix for the minor points paying position with Kuhn, MVD, Glowstick and Milan Langer. 16 drivers still remain in this race, which is very nice to see. Every single driver is still in this Grand Prix, but obviously things could change in a matter of seconds. Kuhn is in the pit lane, so quite an early stop there for Kuhn as I stay on board with Octavia, because Octavia is closing in, but he backs off massively. You can see how much Lyco he does before entering the chicane. He doesn't brake, he just lifts off, try and regenerates as much battery as he can, as he wants to save some later on as well. A battery is going to be absolutely vital in any racetrack really. It's very important because you can easily waste it as you can save it too. And as you can see, the boost button is being used there for Octavia trying to get closer. He's already down towards 10%. Remember, he had like 60% after the chicane. That's why it's so important to manage your battery. You can't afford to use all your eggs in one go. You've got to save some later on and use it wisely and professionally too. And Kick has dropped back dramatically. The gap is 2.3 seconds, so he's unable to keep up with Octavia. But he does have a bit of tail on his hands, a bit of company on his hands, with Ryan Benink and Robbie Jacobs. Those two, 5th and 6th place, those two are really good friends indeed, both at QDR, and doing a solid job so far. Is Robbie Jacobs and Ryan Benink, both in PSGL, and Ryan Benink there, getting super close to the wall. And Kick, once again, that has been unfortunately, the antithesis there for Kick is Colton in P4 because he has struggled massively with traction in that penultimate corner. It's something about the penultimate corner with Kick, just can't seem to get the power down. Ryan Benink is in the pit lane to get rid of his mini compound tyres then, and potentially trying to pull an undercut on Kick as well, try to get close towards the top three. So I think people could be pitting towards the end of this lap. The medium compound tyres could be given up towards the end of this stint, and a trajectory onto the hard compound tyres will be necessitated too. Look at this battle, and that's a Williams trying to brave it down the inside. Does he make a stick? He does. That's Ralph. What a move. Audacious lunge there. Could have gone wrong in a matter of seconds, but he didn't back out, kept his nose in, and stole and claimed a place away from the Mercedes driver. So where has he rejoined? Ryan Benink has rejoined the P12, got clear air, and he can utilise it as much as he can to try and gain time back on Octavia, Esteban and Pink Panther for first, second, third. There's 21 laps left going. Oh, that's a massive hit at the wall there for Octavia, pushing super hard to keep up with the top two. How many brushes can he get away with? Very lucky boy so far. This man has been knocking about the walls so far, and one too many bumps could lead for wind damage or understeer as well through there. The mini compound tyres potentially just giving the ghost. The car just whitewashing away from him as well. Massive wheel spin too. Could this be the sign to pit? Is it worth now going on the hard compound tyres? He doesn't pit, but Esteban pits. Esteban is in the pit lane at the end of this lap. And let's see, where will Ryan Benink will be? Is he too far away? I wonder, towards Esteban. I'm enjoying this race, you know. It's better than expected. That's a massive, look at that, that's a massive gap. Holy moly. That's a big pit lane indeed. Here we go then for a new set of hard compound tyres. What is the pit loss around here? As we're about to find out, how much time has he lost in the pit lane? About 4 seconds pit lane lost there as he rejoins onto the track. Moment Nick in pursuit of Hadzagas, who seems to be struggling there in the Haas, Cadillac, sorry. I don't know why, obviously different colours, but I always think Hadzagas is in the Haas, or the back end of the car just tail happy there. The medium compound tyres are screaming for grip, but where is Ryan Benink? Is right behind Esteban. The gap was like 2.53 seconds estimately against Esteban before the pit stops. That's almost an undercut pull for Ryan Benink. Crucially, he's been brought back into play and could be a threat towards the end of this race. The undercut has been substantial in this race, and I wonder will Octavian Armin follow swiftly to pit on this lap, because if they don't pit, the longer the start, obviously, the more chance of these guys will undercut. But Octavia is not in the overtake mode of Pink Panther. He's lost that connection towards the McLaren driver and will not have the facilities open for that either. So let's see if the top two decide to pit on this lap. Yes, it's a no-brainer to pit on this lap. Don't speed in the pit lane. That's the last thing you want to do. Speed in the pit lane. Slow it all down. Adhere to the pit lane speed limiter, which they do. I can smell smoke for some reason. It don't smell nice. Don't know what that is. But there is smoke outside my house. I'm looking at the window right now to see what it is. I can't really see much. They trundle down the pit lane, and we'll see where they come out. Do you know what's funny? I'm outside right now. Well, I was commentating, but now I'm inside. Oh, Robbie Jacobs has got a 3-second penalty for warnings, but where have they rejoined? So, our race leader is now Esteban. He has jumped Octavia and Pink Panther. The undercut has been effective, but will the offset limit the damage and cancel each other out? We're about to find out if the offset or the undercut has been better. Pink Panther's rejoining P5, 1.2 behind Ryan Benink, so with those fresher tyres, he could potentially claw the advantage back against Ryan Benink. So we've got a new leader in this race. It's just Esteban in P3, the Dutchman, seeking another win. And I'm pretty sure his mentor, Red Joke, will be very pleased and happy. But the race is not over yet. I suspect that Pink Panther's pace will definitely come into effect here. His first stint has been monumental, and a new set of hard compound tyres will be better for him and pay dividends later on in this race too. 19 laps left to go in this race. It's a long race now. So once Pink Panther catches up, you'll have the overtake mode and try and save and store that electrical battery. We're ready to use it all later on in this race. There he is in the background, he's caught up. So on the next lap, he will have overtake mode and we'll have the fresher tyres. and will decide when to strike against Ryan Benink and Stefan. Pink Panther has been looking comfortable so far in this race, but he's still got some work to do. Catch up is one thing, overtaking is another thing. Octavia at the rear of this train, and I wonder, he did struggle in the first stint. Can he claw his way back in the second stint? Does he have the pace now? I was hoping that Octavia will get a podium. You always like to see an underdog do really well, but of course, they need to do the hard work, you know, over a course of a race Grand Prix, be consistent, have the pace all the way throughout, manage really well and sufficiently too. Overtaking, high IQ battery management, methodical, precise. But Octavia so far in P6 has caught up to the rear of Pink Panther, so we'll also have the battery in the back of Armin, Ryan Benink and Stefan. There's only 2 people who are yet to pit in this race. That is Robbie Jacobs and Ralph. You know what? If a safety car came out right now, they'll be living life, and they'll be very, very pleased indeed. Robbie Jacobs, a 2-time champion here in JSR, and he's came from last to first so far. And once the mini compound tyres will be allocated to his car later in the stint, how much pace, how much of a deficit will he have towards the guys on the hard compound tyres, and where will he end up finishing? Somebody scribbled the walls there, but nothing major indeed. You can get away with scribbling the walls. As long as you're not in your front wing, you should be fine. A gentle kiss against the walls should be okay. But that corner, the final corner, it does stick out like a sore thumb. Like turn 1 backer, it sticks out like a sore thumb, and you get to be very, very wary on the outside there too, because a little bit of understeer, a bit too much speed, a bit of oversteer and a snap, massive wheel spin, that wall will invite you, and unfortunately will probably ruin your race. But I've seen nobody hit the wall so far, maybe a gentle kiss here and there, but nothing more than that. Lap 12 out of 29. The scenario is now Stefan is leading. Bertie's on the oldest tyres. In fact, Ryan Benink is on the oldest tyres in P4, but Stefan's tyres are 2 laps older than Armin and Octavia. And Hatzikas picks up a 3-second time penalty indeed in this race. He was doing really well and had a bit of a adventurous first lap, it must be said, but after that he settled in really well. They dropped back a few places with the mini compound tyres, not doing any dividends for him at all. So they started to close on Ralph, and we know Ralph is a tough competitor. Even on older tyres, he will not let anybody go. But has Kuhn, well, theories could be, if Kuhn did crash and cause safety car, I dare say conspiracy theories, because you know Ralph and P2 can switch over to mini compound tyres. Be careful, Kuhn, don't cause safety car at this point. And around the outside goes close stick to claim P13. Milan Langer is up to P13 after his first lap spin. We saw the Haasman out of shape in turn 1, or turn 2, sorry. But these guys are right on the heels of Ralph. Down the inside goes Steve, and that was a move that had to be done immediately. He can't afford to waste any time to the guy in front of him, and now he's dispatched him. Can focus step aside to Robbie Jacobs. And next up is Ryan Benink. Ryan Benink is alongside the Williams man. And let's see how much of a fight will the Williams put up. Ryan Benink with the battery blast past the Williams. And that was crucial before the chicane. And many drivers here bounced over the curves too for good measure. It has to spun. Milan Langer has spun. What's happened there? Robbie Jacobs has let those two go. And Ralph is being held up by Robbie Jacobs. And Pink Panther will be desperate and poised to get past these two immediately. He has to get past these two, because if he doesn't, he's boxed in right now. Can he get past the Williams? Yes, he can. Next target, as you can see, the Red Bull, the Octavia, push him to the corners. Oh my goodness, contact there. And Armin somehow gets out unscathed. Robbie Jacobs, Octavia, sorry, goes down the inside. Oh, what the hell? What the hell, man? What was that? Robbie Jacobs. Please don't tell me you tried to straight line him. If you did, that was unacceptable indeed. If there was contact with you and Ralph, fair enough, but I really hope that boy didn't try to straight line him. I really wish to pay more attention. I thought the move was done, but there could have been contact with him and Ralph. So I'll keep my opinions on hold for right now, but I really hope that Robbie Jacobs did not try and attack a straight line Octavia and Ralph. There's no reason to. Literally no. Oh my goodness, Robbie Jacobs, why? But yeah, he's out of the race. Is that a safety car? No, it's not. Robbie Jacobs is out of the Spanish Grand Prix. By the way, Robbie Jacobs, if you do watch this back, if you didn't straight line or try to, my apologies. I thought you did. It looked like you did on my screen. I wasn't fully looking. But this is a battle for the lead between Ryan and Stefan. Do you know what the thing is? I don't think these two should fight, because if they do fight, it'll allow Octavia to come back. And Octavia is in a really good spot on the youngest tyres in P3. But does he have the pace? And he does have the pace. Look at that, 1.1. He gained about 7/10 in a few corners. That's unbelievable. Now he's in overtake mode. So these two squabbling has cost themselves a bit of time. Will be able to enjoy about the session, but he's retired. I think, looking back at it, Robbie Jacobs just outbroke himself. He tried to re-overtake. Who was it? He tried to re-overtake Octavia, but just messed it up and hit Pink Panther. Pink Panther would not be delighted. I really hope Pink Panther has not got any damage. I'm looking back at it now, and let's see if Pink Panther has damage. Nope. If he does, it's only minor, because he did hit the wall due to the expense of Robbie Jacobs hitting him in the back of his gearbox there. So, lucky boy, but Octavia sliding to the corner. This is an intense battle between first, second, and fourth. Unfortunately, one person out of this gaggle of cars will not get a podium, but which driver will not see the podium here in the top four? Somebody has got to be the sacrificial lamb, and I'm not quite sure who it is, but everything will be done. All these drivers got something to prove here. Ryan Benink, who was a championship contender last season, missed out with a crash in a tunnel in Abu Dhabi. And Stefan, who was a mentor, or mentored by Sven Joke, a 7-time champion at JSR, we also looking to prove as well. But Octavia has got plenty to prove, because he's up in the podium at all, had a race win in JSR, and here he is in the top 3 spots. How will Octavia cope with the pressure? Because at the back of the field, you have really no pressure, but when you're in the front for the first time, your things could change. And I know the feeling when you're fighting for the lead or a podium, because your nerves start ramping up and you start making silly mistakes indeed. Glowstick has retired from this race. That's the end of his journey here in Madrid. So, 2 retirements in this race in the name of Glowstick and Robbie Jacobs. Armin. Oh no! Pink Panther has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Milan has retired too, that's the end of him. But Pink Panther, unfortunately playing with fire here, testing the track limits, and has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Octavia there flirts with the walls as he goes sideways through the corners, playing with fire. Sorry, Jamie, you don't have to apologise to me, mate. I don't care. Well, I do care about you, but I don't really care about what if you retired or not. But come back stronger the next race. But yeah, what a shame. Who's that in the pit lane? Was that somebody picked that? It's Milan Langer. So Pink Panther would definitely not get a penalty unless somebody in this top 3 picks up a penalty, which is possible. I've seen many of these drivers just flirting and getting super close with the white lines here. This is the main place to pick up a penalty indeed. That chicane. You've got to hop, skip and jump literally over the chicane here. You've got to be very wary, but Octavia does have the youngest tyres. If he wins a JSR, my goodness, what a turnaround. Do you know what? I did not have him to be on the podium or on the win, but I don't want to jinx him too yet. And Kuhn has retired too. I don't want to jinx Octavia, so I'm not going to say anything about him, but I really hope that he does well, let's just say. Commentator's curse. I'll put it on somebody else. Stefan's going to win this race. There you go. You can have the commentator's curse. But Pink Panther still pushed him right on his gearbox there. He was leading. But of course, that scuffle with Robbie Jacobs put him down into P4. He won't have a chance anymore unless the penalty can get removed. We'll never know. Yes, we will know in the nick of time. Octavia once again. It seems to be the place where he's flirting with the barriers on the outside. 13 laps left to go in this race. This is shaking down to be one of the greatest ends here in JSR. But who? What is going to be the order here? As Hatakas gets ahead a kick in P6. Those guys have been pretty much detached from this race. There's only 12 drivers left in this race to decide who will win around here in Madrid. I don't even know if is it a street circuit? I don't even know, Steve. I don't want to say street circuit because I look like a fool of myself. But I do say that. It does look like a street circuit, doesn't it? But I don't want to say it just in case if it's not. This circuit has definitely tested the drivers here in terms of durability, precision, accuracy and pace. Indeed, consistency has been absolutely king around here because one mistake, as you've seen, as when Nick gets a penalty in this race. That's precisely what I'm saying. And penalties can catch you out indeed in this race. Must be very, very careful. Pink Panther down the inside. Nice move there when he go wide. He makes the corner stick and he's up into P3. That's a lovely lunge down the inside. Got to the apex first, didn't go too wide and picks up P3. Octavia, however, will not be happy because his sights are focused on first and second place. He does not want this McLaren in front of him because that will be an obstacle in the way. He's essentially the outlier in this race. The joker in this race is Pink Panther with a 3-second penalty. He's here to spoil people's races and prevent people's chances of winning too. How will Octavia respond? He has to get past it, but how? Maybe here it's going to be a brave one before the chicane. What have you got to back out? Come on! And wow, what an amazing race in there. Pink Panther kept his nose in. Octavia saw him coming and backed out indeed. I thought for sure one of those two will make contact, but all this battling is cost themselves each time between Ryan and Esteban. Ryan and Esteban are pulling away. So I think these two have got to end their battling and focus on Ryan Benink and Esteban. These two have got the freshest tyres out of those two. The undercut has worked at this time, but the offset could be crucial as well later on in this race. But great move by the McLaren driver. Audacious. He wasn't willing to yield at all. He doesn't care if he has a 3-second penalty. He wants to go for it, but these two have lost themselves a lot of time. So I think they decided to a rhythm now. It's always that barrier where drivers flirt with on the outside, tend to live really close. That's not even a word. Oh, Octavia understeers into the wall. We've seen many drivers do that before in the past. That won't be the first, that won't be the last. And once again, struggles for traction out of the slow speed corners. It must be, it must be horrible having no front end whatsoever. But it's down to these two, Ryan Benink versus Esteban. Two highly rated drivers here in the JSR. Two great drivers indeed. Both of them are very nice people indeed. Ryan Benink is the Norwegian Dutchman, as I like to say, and Esteban is the fully Dutchman. So the Dutch-born Norwegian driver fighting for another victory here in JSR. And Esteban fights for his first win since the Singapore Grand Prix last season, trying to make amends as well. Three tenths is only the gap. Ryan Benink scored a podium back at the Qatar Grand Prix, but when was his last race win? I think it was back at the Brazilian Grand Prix last season, if I'm not mistaken. It was the first race of the season in JSR back in Brazil was his first win, but he picked up a podium in the first race back at the Qatar Grand Prix. So where has he been recently? Ryan Benink, once he pieces it all together, he can really deliver those fantastic results. Hasn't really looked good so far for him this season, except the first race back in Qatar. He did finish P2 back in Saudi Arabia as well. I do remember that race when the top two took each other out, Kevin Zollberg and Sasha. When those two came to blows, it was Bobby Echo. It wasn't Sasha, it was somebody else, I think it was. It could have been Ryan Benink and Kevin who I think it was Ryan Benink and Kevin who made contact and came to blows. This race feels like it's gone on forever. 9 laps have to go in this race, and this battle is pretty much fixated between these two. But Pink Panther could be joining in very soon. He does have a 3-second penalty over his shoulders though. But Octavia has been dropped, and the chances of a podium for him, he's got to keep it under 3 seconds if he wants that podium. I think he's been overdriving a bit too much there. He hasn't been smooth in terms of inputs. And once you start making mistakes, you start even making more mistakes, trying to rectify your mistakes, but keep on making more mistakes. And you can see him just bumping the walls. Perfect example. And lots of the red tires. You know what? If you can't keep up, set up a P4. There's no Shame finishing P4. Points are still crucial. I know his pride might be a bit hurt, thinking he could have been in P3 or P2 or P1. But you know what? It's a stepping stone for Torteva, isn't it? A driver who hasn't really been in this position high up for a long time, and a driver who has struggled massively in the last few games. It's a stepping stone, and there's plenty more to come from this driver. He's bleeding a lot of time towards Pink Panther, so Pink Panther's podium chances may come alive still if Torteva keeps on increasing that gap to himself. And Torteva, over 2 seconds is the penalty margin he needs to secure his position in P3. What Pink Panther could, you know what, it smells of smoke. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's a horrible smell of smoke you smell outside. But the only thing that could ruin Ryan and Esteban's race if Pink Panther gets involved and splits them up. Pink Panther won't give up. He doesn't care that he's got a penalty. He wants to go for the race win on the track. He wants to have the bragging rights over the race win. And Hatikas is in the pit lane again. So 10 laps on this hardcore podcast. You know, Ralph hasn't pitted just yet. Let's not forget about him in P5. He has not pitted just yet in the Williams. Running solidly in P5. I wonder how long is he going for on this hardcore pod tyres, I wonder. Where could Ralph rejoin in this mix? Is it P9, P10, around where Mum and Nick is? Possibly, if I've mentioned that correctly. So, definitely it's on the top 10, that's for sure. Score some decent points here. But Ryan Banning and Esteban pretty much keeping each other at arm's length and pretty much keeping each other under massive pressure too. The presence of Pink Panther will certainly disrupt them. And I wonder if Pink Panther could become a factor in this race as well. Could he sport the surprise of Esteban or Ryan Banning or both of them? Now he pressurizes Ryan Banning. So Ryan Banning has got to watch out here because he could hinder his chances of getting Esteban. If Ryan Banning is overtaken by Pink Panther, that's big news for him. That's big trouble for him. And Torteva has got a penalty. He's been overdriving the car, unfortunately. And yeah, been pushing the limits too much. So P4 now is pretty much his position unless mistakes happen in the future near time. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, and here comes Pink Panther. He takes P2 but picks up a penalty as a result because he did cut the chicane there. And I think Ryan Banning made a big mistake and Pink Panther went through. And I think Ryan Banning is desperate that Pink Panther gets past Esteban now, because if Pink Panther's in the middle of these two, that delays or ruins any chance of Ryan Banning getting Esteban. So, how is this going to play out towards the end of the race? Where does Ryan Banning want Pink Panther to be? Formidable pace from the McLaren driver, but unfortunately does have a penalty. That's 6 seconds now, so any chances of winning are completely out of the equation here in Spain. He's hoping that something major happens to Esteban and Ryan Banning, but I don't think the way it's going that's going to happen. But the victory, who will it go to? Ryan Banning or Esteban? In the championship, I think that Esteban is relatively close. If I go back towards the championship standings, if I can find them, you know, I struggle finding the stewards, the championship standings here. Yeah, I can't find them, but I'll tell you them later on here. I am so bad at finding things on Discord. It's unbelievable. When you need to quickly flick through some things, you can't find anything you need. You know what? I should know where it is. It's embarrassing. There we go. So, Esteban's P4. He might leapfrog Kevin, but Ryan Banning he will be super close to towards the end of this race in terms of the championship points. Sasha Hood is way out of reach. It needs about 2, 3, 4 races for anybody to catch him without him racing. The Audi is looking very strong. His teammate, however, is also looking very strong as Esteban. He's very, very strong in this race. And Venjoke will be very, very happy that he will win this race if he wins, because there's still a few laps left to go in this race. Can Esteban keep his nerve? He's been leading ever since the second stint, controlling this race beautifully. And Ryan Banning's actually losing time now, so he's lost the He's actually lost the tie towards Esteban, lost the overtake, and Esteban could pull away. And Esteban doesn't need to worry about the guy behind him. He can let the guy behind him go and just keep up with him. That's all he needs to do. So don't fight with the Pink Panther, because squabbling with Pink Panther is the last thing he needs on his table, because he knows the gap is 2 seconds then. So if he's wise, let him go. Don't squabble in the breaker zone. Don't fight in the corners. Just bring this car home. And that'd be another win for Audi. That'd be 7 wins for Audi. That's incredible. So even though Sasha is not here, an Audi is likely to win this race. Octavia in the background just scraping the wall there for good measure, as Kick and Fireblaze, 2 former teammates in different leagues, are now squabbling over P5. Let's keep it on that battle, shall we? We haven't mentioned much of Fireblaze, but he's running P6, and Kick, on the other hand, just scraped the wall on the outside there too. But it's Pink Panther making a move on Esteban. We know how aggressive Pink Panther has been on other drivers. When he sees a gap, he goes for it. So I think Esteban needs to anticipate when he's going to attack, and when he does make his overtake, just let him go. There's no point going side by side, wheel to wheel in the braking zones or this particular part of the track either. Olivia has retired. He has gone. The Danishman is out of the race. And Ryberning is losing buckets amount of time towards Pink Panther Esteban. 3-4 seconds. So what on earth has happened to his pace? Oh, that's why he's lost a bit of end plate. So I think Esteban's chances of winning now is even likelier and bigger as well, because Ryberning does have damage. Could Octavia be brought back into the mix? No, he can't, because he does have a penalty. And he's broken his way too for good measure. So yeah, that pretty much equals it, cancels it out between those two there. Fights for P3. So Esteban does have the McLaren driver behind him. Pink Panther is hoping that Esteban makes a big mistake or picks a penalty. He's got one more warning for a penalty, has the Dutchman. So keep it nice and clean here on in. As we see these two go side by side, that is Fireblaze versus Kick, and Fireblaze just inches forwards ahead of the Borrow driver to put himself into P5 ahead of the Dutchman Kick. They get super close once again towards the wall on the outside. Sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? Ryberning has got a penalty. That could be crucial towards the end of this race. What's the there it is, the penalty situation between Ryan and Octavia, but Octavia is not close enough to make any sort of impression. Ryberning doesn't need to be making these mistakes. He knows he's got the gap over Octavia, so just don't do anything silly now towards the end of this race. P3 is still a good result. Penalties are starting to come in thick and fast for all these drivers here as well. Imagine if a safety car comes out, all these guys are bunched up 5 minutes a kick on the podium. That'd be incredible indeed. The last thing Pink Panther wants, because he does have a 6-second penalty in this race. Sorry, somebody has just invited me to a party there. My mistake. Luckily, I did not join it. Do you know what's funny as well? The top 3 are all on PC or Xbox, which means I don't have to do any interviews. Yes, let's go. I'm not interviewing the guys outside the top 4, by the way. Or top 3, shall I say. So yes, no interviews for me tonight. I could just, when this race is done and dusted, I could scoot off and enjoy myself, basically. But the battle for P2, do you know what? There's nothing climatic towards this race unless something major happens and drastic towards the end. But here we come then. This is the battle for the lead. Esteban, if he's wise, don't fight this out. Don't cost yourself a penalty. Don't cost yourself a collision to get in the wall or something. It's all mind games here from the end. If I was Esteban, I'd just let him go. You know what I mean? Just let him go and lead the race. I wouldn't bother defending against him, because this track requires high concentration and skills. One misfoot could lead you in the wall, so just be very careful. But of course, he can do whatever he wants as well. is the crucible of this race, and Esteban, all he needs to do is keep his nerve, keep his cool, and he should be on course to win here at the Spanish Grand Prix, the first race in Madrid at JSR, the first time these drivers explored this racetrack. This racetrack has been difficult for some, and other people have thrived off it. Esteban has been absolutely consistent in terms of no penalties and kept it on the racetrack at all times. The overcut has worked for his favour, has paid dividends for him, and worked in fruition for his strategy. And it's certainly boded well towards the end of this race because he's got track position and no tyres and no penalties at all in this race. Nothing could spoil his evening unless Pink Panther puts him in the wall, which is unlikely. A penalty now in this race would do nothing for Esteban, as the guy behind him does have a 6-second penalty, which is Pink Panther. Esteban has been under massive pressure the whole race, but he's not crumbled at all. And hopefully he doesn't crumble with the McLaren driver right behind, hot on his heels. He knows that the McLaren driver has got penalties. There's no need to be pushing hard or relentlessly. Fireblaze has got past Octavia. He's caught up. Surprisingly, I didn't realise Fireblaze was on a charge, but he's done it. He's up into P4. It is the final lap of the race, and Fireblaze goes up into P4. So Octavia's really struck. Look at the tyre. Look at that. Massive steering input there. Emphatically massive steering input there for Octavia. Now it could be under pressure from Kit behind too. Tyres are going off there for the Dutchman in P5. They're back towards the top two in this race. Ever since the second stint, Esteban has absolutely mastered it in this race. No safety cars, only one VSC. Surprisingly, I thought there'd be more safety cars in this race, but there hasn't been so far. What a drive this has been from Esteban after waiting for a race wins in Singapore last season. Oh, what the hell? Oh, down the inside goes Pink Panther. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But after waiting for the win for last season in Singapore, the Audi driver is finally set to return to the top step of the podium, and he has done it in outstanding fashion. Those other random pit-up penalties became involved in incidents or simply couldn't keep up with his pace. Esteban kept his race clean, controlled, clinical and composed from start to finish. The undercut strategy proved to be the turning point, and from that moment onwards he never looked back. The tyre management in the second stint has been absolutely exceptional. His consistency was relentless, and the pressure increased in the closer stages. He responded beautifully as he rounds the final corner. Esteban wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Amazing clinical drive for him. Has taken full advantage of the opportunity of other people faltering at the final hurdle in this race. Other people couldn't catch up. Other people's tyres went off, and they picked up penalties as well for good measure. Ryan Benning will come home to finish in P3. Fireblaze in a fantastic P4. The man that goes undercover every single time, under the radar, it must be said. And the man will finish in P4. Great drive from all of them to survive towards the end. Ralph is right behind Octavia, but he's too far away to try and launch an attack. The Audi driver has delivered for Audi's 7th victory of the season. This has been a reminder to everyone in the field that Esteban is still one of the very much better drivers on the grid. And after a long wait, this result will mean an enormous amount to him. He has finally won a race again, and I think that Red Joke will be a very happy driver, happy person indeed. Red Joke, of course, a 7-time champion of JSR, much respected person on the grid, and one of the most handsome looking drivers on the grid, it must be said, for sure. One of the ladies man drivers. Of course, he picks up a lot of ladies, does Red Joke. I should have mentioned that, but oh well. But anyways, congratulations to Esteban winning the Spanish Grand Prix ahead of Armin, Ryan Benning in P3. Guess what, guys? I don't have to do podium interviews tonight because the top 3 are all on PC or Xbox. So yippee, no podium interviews with me. And that has been the Spanish Grand Prix. I have been Jamie Morris, presenting you the Spanish Grand Prix here at JSR on the Indigo channel. And next week will be the Bahrain Grand Prix. Join us back at the Bahrain Grand Prix next week on Tuesday, and we'll see you all then. But for now, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Love you all. Goodbye. Todd Scenes. Screenshot Todd Scenes. Dog give out. Dewey.